Today we're gonna fix the IBM 5170. Maybe you saw it in my unboxing video number 4, where we connected it and tried to start it, but we could not boot, not from the hard drive and not from the floppy drive. Well, today we're gonna give it another shot and see if we can make this computer work again. So here it is. I checked the switches on the back of the graphics card and they are set on MDA. So that's why I have attached an MDA display. And I'm sure if that works, I can probably just change the switches later to be EGA compatible. Without further ado, let me turn on this computer and let's hope it works. Power symbol is on. We can hear the hard disk spinning. And we have pictures. $640 kilobytes. Okay, I get a keyboard error. This keyboard is made for an IBM 5150. So maybe it's the wrong keyboard. Okay, let me try with another keyboard. I have now connected another keyboard. I think this is a AT keyboard, but let's turn it on and have a look. Okay, the keyboard is not beeping. We get the 601 diskette error, and we got the 162 system option not set up error. Okay, let's just try to resume and see. Okay, it went straight into basic. Okay, there is for sure something wrong with the configuration. It probably lost configuration due to the battery stopped working. But I will try with a floppy disk. Okay, it didn't even try to boot from the floppy, so maybe we have a problem with the floppy controller. I have opened the computer and I took a quick look at the floppy drive and realized that it was not connected. Not the power or not the signal cable. So now it's connected and let's try again. Okay, the floppy drive is at least spinning up. Still got some 162 error. It's probably because it lost the setup. The disk is turning. Shit, okay, it didn't read from it. Here is a diagnostic disk for IBM Personal Computer AT. Let's try it. I don't think it will work, but it's worth a shot. It did not boot from the diagnostic disk, so then I think my next step is to take a closer look on the floppy drive, clean it, and maybe use some lithium grease on sliders. I cleaned the sliders and put on some lithium grease, and now the floppy drive is working as it should. So the next now is to run setup. The setup is really very straightforward. It's easy to know the answer of the questions. One thing I could mention is that when it asks for the type of the hard drive, that is actually very easy to find. In the front of the hard drive there is a sticker with a very clearly marked number 2. So that's what we are going to choose. Yeah, the floppy drive is spinning up and it sounds like it's starting to read. And yes, it's working. We are now booted from the floppy. Yeah, let's check if the hard drive is also working. Oh my god, this is almost too easy. Wow. It looks like we have some bad sectors. I just ran CHKDSK and found a lot of error messages. I'm just running it again now with the /F for fix, and hopefully it will fix some of these errors. But no. I thought the F was for fix. Maybe it's not able to fix these errors. Since we can't boot from the hard drive, I'm trying to run the sus command. It will probably not work. Yeah, no room for system on destination disk. Okay, next thing now is maybe to use some tools to fix the hard drive. Maybe Norton can help us. So we've started Norton Disk Doctor. We will now run a test. It will probably take a long time, but I'll skip ahead to the interesting parts. It recommends calibrate. Wasn't that a tool we used to check and maybe also fix interleave problems in the old days? Wow, this brings back memories. When editing this, I've skipped ahead a lot. These things takes time. As we can see, it has found a lot of bad tracks in the beginning of the hard drive, but now it looks good. So I think the rest of the hard drive will be okay. We are now running Norton Calibrate. This is the fun part to watch. It's now trying to figure out the best interleave. Calibrate is now trying to figure out the best interleave, and it suggests to use 3 to 1, and that is also the current optimal. The last thing Calibrate does is to check for defects on the hard drive. This is going to take a long time. At the most, it suggested that it would take more than an hour, but after the bad part in the beginning of the disk, it sped up quite a lot. So I ended on about 20 minutes for the whole check. I forgot to take any video of me taking off the old battery and replacing it with a new one. The old battery was a 6-volt battery, and the new battery is also 6 volt, but it's 4 1.5 volts ordinary batteries, non-rechargeable. So with that in place, I had to run setup again, but my floppy drive stopped working. I tried cleaning it some more. I tried with more lithium grease. I basically tried everything, and I was tired and I could not get it to work. All the disk I tried, I got read error. Once in a while I was able to boot, but when trying to start a program or doing basically anything that I needed to do, I could not start from the floppy, and I had to be able to start from the floppy drive to run the diagnostic again, because we just replaced the battery, so I had to run the CMOS setup again. So I gave up trying to run the CMOS setting for now, and I decided I want to change the video modus on the EGA card from MDA to EGA. So I connected my Amstrad EGA monitor and set the dip switches accordingly, and turned on the machine to check if the screen was working. and it was. And in the floppy drive, the diagnostic disk was still there, and it booted. So enjoying the success. It's all working. We can boot from the hard drive. I've made a config sys and an auto exec bat, and I've reformatted the hard drive. I took a look, but there was nothing there that I took a look, but it was nothing there that was worth keeping. So I used fdisk and created a new partition and formatted that, and a lot of the bad sector was gone, and it looks very good now. So yeah, let's start the Norton system info and have a look at the machine from that perspective. Norton sysinfo tells us that this is 8286 at 6 MHz, and it also has a 287 processor. And it tells us we have 640 kilobytes of memory and an EGA card. The speed test is nothing to brag about. It only gets 3.1, and compared to IBM 286 at 8 MHz at 4.4, we are quite a bit slower. So at this time, I was ready to put the lid back on the machine, put the EGA monitor on top, and start Planet X3 on my CRT EGA monitor. But then the floppy disk stopped working again. I know that because I needed to use the floppy disk to copy the game over to the hard drive. So why was that? Why did the floppy drive stop working again? At this time I decided to disconnect the monitor and go for the CGA to SCART converter, which also works on EGA. Connect that to my LCD display because I would get more stable pictures. It's more easy to record LCD than a CRT screen. And then the floppy worked. So what had changed? Then it occurred to me, while I have a CRT monitor placed on top of the computer, the floppy drive stopped working. When I lifted it away, it started working. And that explains all the troubles we had. We started with the monitor on top. We took it to the side to be able to access the floppy drive, and then it worked. When we put the monitor back on top, it stopped working again. So that was a mystery solved. So now the only thing left is to fire up Planet X3 in EGA and say goodbye. I hope you liked this video. I know it was quite long and some parts were quite boring, but I wanted to document everything I did for my part, and maybe you need it. So now it's all documented, the whole process and all the troubles I had with my IBM 5170. Again, I hope you liked the video. If you did, press like. See you next time.